All right, so today, welcome to the front line. Nathan Pierce here. I've got Will with me today, and we're going to be talking a little bit about an event that you can participate in, a training event for visiting a district office. And Will's been to the Capitol. You've been to the Capitol, right? So it's pretty nice there, right? Yeah. So do you think that was it hot or cold at the Capitol?
Cold.
Cold. Okay. But if you wear a jacket, then you can be warmer, right? Yeah. Okay. So anyway, it's good to visit the Capitol, but it's good to visit your legislator at their district office too. And so we're hosting an event, and we'll be talking about that a little bit in the podcast today with Jennifer Avila, who's our Director of District Outreach, and she'll tell you a little bit about the event she's hosting in Redlands, California on April the 28th that you can participate in, learn about how to visit your district office, because she's hosting the event at a district office for her state senator, and it's a very friendly office. So that would be a really great thing for you to participate in. So I wanted to point out today, this morning, we read in our family's worship time together the passage about the Ark of the Covenant getting captured in battle and getting taken away to different cities in by the Philistines. And it didn't go so well for the Philistines when they took away the Ark of the Covenant. They had all kinds of trouble, including their idols falling down and getting smashed, and that didn't go so well for them. And also, they started getting all these sicknesses. But it helped me to remember that you shouldn't mess with God. The Philistines learned that the hard way, and they ended up giving the Ark of the Covenant back. But also, if you think about it, it's a good reminder that God is very mighty. He's more powerful than anybody else, and that there's no issue that is too big for God to deal with. So when we look at the Capitol or legislators, sometimes it can feel like they're overwhelming or too big to deal with, but God's bigger than all of them. He will deal with them, whether in this life or in the next. And so we can be glad that God's big, huh, Will? Yep. And we can be grateful for that. So if you could, pray for us here at FPM while we keep going through lots of bills that are kind of troublesome, some of them, and some of them aren't so bad, but we have a lot of work to do to make sure that we analyze the bills and make sure that they're going to be amended in ways that are not bad for homeschool families. So we're working on that here in April in Sacramento, and we'd appreciate your prayers for that we would stay on top of it.
That's to the end of the bloopers.
Welcome to the Front Line with FPM, where we talk about California politics, homeschool freedom, parental rights, and the family. I'm your host, Nathan Pierce, and thanks for joining us today. Let's jump right in and see what's going on here on the Front Line. Well, hi, Jennifer. Thanks for coming on the podcast today and being willing to share about an upcoming event that we have. But before we get into that event, I was thinking maybe you could share with us a little bit about just your involvement in visiting district offices, as well as sort of your start getting involved in homeschool freedom advocacy, and really how you kind of help people get over the hump of fear of not being excited about visiting their legislator, but getting past that initial fear of really being afraid to connect with legislators because they're scary sometimes.
Yes, thanks, Nathan. Happy to share my experiences with the audience here. So my advocacy journey began in 2018 when the Turpin case blew up in California. And there were, I think, 2 or 3 bills, if I recollect, that were trying to be passed to put more regulations on private homeschooling. And a friend and myself went to Sacramento, gave our support or rather our not support
Yeah.
for the bills, and that kind of sparked something in me to continue going with it and to not stop there. Reading your posts on the website about how important it is to get involved and it being our civic duty, and paying attention to the podcast that you started with the Frontline. So that all just kind of lit a fire under me to kind of try to replicate what I did in Sacramento, and do it at my local office. And as many people know, it is a little intimidating. I had the butterflies in my stomach and heart pounding, being really nervous, not knowing what I was going to say, if I was going to say the wrong thing, and being too worried about not saying the right thing. And for those people that don't know my story, I went to my office the first time. I remember talking to someone in your office. She prayed with me right before I went in, and went in, did the whole 15-20 minute presentation of the legislative packet, and feeling really good about myself. And then at the end, he graciously tells me, well, thank you for coming in. It's really interesting to hear how homeschooling works, but I'm not the right person for you to talk to because I'm your federal legislator and I don't handle the state level legislation here. So you need to talk to your state legislator. And I felt really disappointed and like, oh no, I just went through all that, all my nerves, and I guess it was a good practice run. And thankfully the person I was supposed to talk to was there in that office at the time, and I just did take two with her. Funny thing is that take two edition with the correct representative, is now my state senator. So when I went to go visit her for the first time in her district office, she remembered me from back in 2019 or 2018 when I did the last one, when she was just a field representative. So it's really interesting how things kind of, I don't know how to say it, how things come together when you start with one thing and how it can end up helping you later on. And that's what we're really trying to do, encouraging our homeschool families to take that first step, get over those fears. As we know, the Lord tells us he gives us a spirit of, I'm forgetting my words, not a spirit of fear, but of sound mind and strength. So that's what I try to take with me. And once you go past that first one and get it under your belt, it gets a little easier for the next one and then the next one. And then you become a pro at it and it just becomes second nature and it's no big deal, regardless of party. I visited both parties and it really doesn't make a difference. I've had very friendly visits on both sides of the aisle. So,
and they're real people. They're not people that need to be looked up to because they're some big important person that doesn't talk with the average person. They're people that actually represent us, and they really need to hear from us because we're the people they work for.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up because on, again, both sides of the aisle that I visited, I've had people on many occasions tell me very graciously that they're very happy that I took time to visit them and explain private homeschooling to them because they're not aware of how it works. Many times they confuse us with charter schools and they assume we're part of a charter school program. They usually have a lot of questions about how we get curriculum, how many homeschoolers are in their district, as well as how do you start homeschooling in California. So, and they really appreciate the legislative packet that I bring to their attention. And a lot of them end up having more questions for me the following year when I return and ask questions like, oh, yes, I remember. And I'm glad you came back because I needed a refresher. We deal with so much stuff throughout the year that I can't keep it all in my head all year long.
Yeah, because they're busy. They're dealing with all kinds of policy things and district things and regardless of what time of year it is, there's always something going on. But yeah,
Exactly.
I totally can relate to that kind of thing. I mean, as a homeschool mom, you've got things that you're dealing with all the time anyway. So
Yeah, and another good thing, again, why I want to reiterate how important it is for our homeschool families to get involved civically is one, we want to be a good role model for our children. If we're trying to say, oh, we all need to get involved and we're just sitting by the sidelines, then we're teaching our kids to sit by the sidelines.
yep,
And
that's so true.
And in order to have our kids raised up to be part of that next generation of leaders, we really need to be the model and show them that we can overcome our fears and get involved, even if we don't feel like we're making a difference. You never know, you actually may be making a difference by just planting that little seed and seeing where it grows. And
Yeah, that's right.
in fact, too, I've had the office where we're going to be doing the district visit. They have had calls twice to me asking me for information on private homeschooling because they've had constituents call their office asking how to homeschool. And they called me and say, well, we had these questions and we had to tell them we're not sure, but we know who to contact to get that information. So we'll get back to you. And so they'll email me or call me and say, hey, this person's asking this question. Where can I send them? What information can I give them? And so, yeah, so thank you for helping us. So trying to be that bridge between legislators and constituents too.
Yeah, that is really helpful, and it goes a long way in being known to them as the person with the information, because you want to be that person, because then you can have an impact later on down the road, whether it's the basic information about how to get started homeschooling, or whether it's a question about policy. Hey, what do you guys think of this?
Yes.
Because it can really make a big difference, which actually leads me to wanting to give a distinction kind of between what we're doing here and what we do every year at Capitol Day. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing here with this event? What is this, and how did this come about? Maybe you could tell us that.
Sure. So I have a very good professional relationship with my senator, and their office is located in Redlands. We have visited them every year since 2020, I think, 2020-ish. And they're a very friendly office. And I've done so many visits with them that her office has very openly and willingly offered to be a training site for homeschool families. Because I've explained how we have so many homeschool families that want to get involved. They ask questions, but they're not sure how to go about it. They're not sure what to say. How do I act? Can I bring my kids? How are my kids supposed to act? All these questions that go through our minds. And Nick, the gentleman who we will be meeting with in Redlands, was very, very supportive, and he was the one that suggested, hey, Jennifer, bring families next time. The more the merrier. I'm happy to be a happy training ground, or a friendly training ground for families to come and get civically involved, and so that they can see that we're not scary people, that we're just people. We love talking to our constituents, and that's what it's all about. And if we can be a platform to train people and to get them over that hump in a relaxed atmosphere where they're not really having to talk, it's just myself and Nick talking, so they can see exactly how a district office visit goes,
Right.
and then can replicate it at their local office. And this office has just been very gracious and very always asking me to bring people.
Yeah.
So they're just like they're very very, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but he's been asking for a couple of years to bring families.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that will be a really great experience for some new families that have thought about going to visit their legislator's district office, but haven't maybe gotten over that hump of the fear of doing it on their own. And it'll give them good training for how to go to their own district office and maybe be more civically involved going forward. And also for the kids to be able to see how the system works and how, as individuals, as citizens, they can get involved and have an impact on the state of California. And we sometimes have this sense that it's so, things are so bad in California, there's nothing we can do to make a difference. But you and I know that that's not the case. We can make a difference, and building relationships is a really key part of doing that, of making a difference, because when we build a relationship, like you said, if they can build an understanding that you actually have some information that they need, then they'll reach out to you when they need it. And that's a really important step towards them looking to you for answers, which, in terms of knowing the way homeschooling works in California and being the go-to people for that, we are the most appropriate people to go to for information about homeschooling, because we're the ones doing it.
Yes.
And so we live all over the state of California, and if we can be that resource to our legislators and their staff, then they will be able to do their jobs better and more than likely have less of a negative impact in their policy making on homeschool families themselves. So it only works if we get involved and we actually do that, which the first step would be to reach out to your local district office. And let's mention, too, a little bit of the difference between the capital offices and the district office. Capital offices are generally more focused on policy, right?
Yes, Capital Day, if any homeschool families out there have been to Capital Day, they know that it's very go, go, go. It's very little time for anything other than bills. That's all the focus is on, bills and deadlines. And it's very, very busy. The district office is so much more relaxed. The district office staff are there to serve you, their constituents. Yes, they do help with bills and things like that, but it's much less demanding in the district office compared to Sacramento. And they usually have a lot more free time to talk. It's not as rushed. Where in Capital Day, we're usually only there for maybe 5 minutes top, unless someone's very lucky and happens to get some time with a legislator. And then we move on to the next office, and then the next office at Capital Day. Whereas the district office, sometimes meetings can be as short as 15, 20 minutes. And other times I've had visits last an hour. So they have a lot more time to spend with you. And I get the feeling, too, that they really want constituents to come, because a lot of times they're really open and they don't have much going on. So they're kind of just, I think it gets a little lonely in those offices.
Yeah. That was the word I was thinking of, too. Yeah.
Because sometimes it's only one or two people in the office. Sometimes it's more. But yeah, to backtrack a little bit, I just did a district visit for one of my senators who's on the opposite side of my political thinking, but they do mobile office hours, and their office is about 45 minutes to an hour away from me, but they do mobile office, which ended up being only a 5-minute drive for me. So that's also another great opportunity to do district office visits. If you look at your senator's website, sometimes a lot of them do mobile office hours, and it's even quieter because when we went to go visit him at the mobile office, it was just him by himself all day there from 9 to 4, and he wanted me to come back to visit another time as well. So that's another opportunity.
Okay, so it's a unique opportunity to visit a legislator or their staff at the district office. It's more laid back. And as for this particular visit, this training that you're doing with the gentleman at Senator Ochoa Bogue's office in Redlands, tell us what should people expect when they come to this training event?
Sure thing. So this is what you can expect in Redlands. It's going to be very relaxed. Nick and I will do all the talking. Nick is a fun guy to talk to. He will try to throw me some hardball questions to see how I handle things, because he likes to do that when I have people with me, to see how I can answer it and to show people how to handle kind of tough questions that you may or may not know the answers to. And homeschool families that decide to come can bring their questions. They can feel free to ask questions to Nick or any of his staff if they're open and ready to talk. And if you're not, that's fine too. You can talk to me privately afterwards, I mean, it's going to be very relaxed, and you will just see how I interact with legislators and take some pointers and take them to your local district office visit. You don't have to copy verbatim what I do, but it just to give you an example of exactly how the interaction between a legislator, staff member, and a homeschool family goes.
So, so they'll be joining you at this office, and they'll be able to watch how the interaction goes with you and Nick. They'll be able to ask questions there, and you'll be able to help them figure out who their legislators are, perhaps, and figure out, how to have some direction on doing their own district office visit if they're ready to do that.
Yes.
Is there a restriction on how many people or who can come to this event? I mean, I don't expect it to be a problem that you have 20, 30 people coming, right? I mean, you can bring more people, right?
Yes, I can bring more people. I don't think there really is a capacity, but I will say Nick has mentioned it's probably not best to have more than 10 to 12. Just because of he calls it mob mentality, if like they get a big large group of people come in, so they like to keep it 10 to 12 people.
Okay. And kids, older kids, younger kids, just parents, what are you looking for this training?
Oh, I say bring them all.
Okay.
Adults, older kids, younger kids. I mean, I've had my youngest go do a visit when he was 4, but I'm sure, as every family knows, it depends on what side of the bed they wake up that morning.
Yes.
So obviously, if you know your kids can be well behaved and want to learn, because my children will be there as well. My children are veterans of legislative office visits, and I'm pretty sure they could probably do one on their own too by now. Yeah, it's good to bring kids. They can observe how it goes as well. And who knows, maybe your kids will remember stuff more than the parents, because I know that happens with me. My kids will say, oh, no, that's not what he said. He said this. And I'm like, oh, that's right. He did say that.
Okay. So if somebody is ready to sign up, what do they need to do?
They sign up on the fpmca.org/events website, where we have the event listed as a special event, I believe. And you can just RSVP. Just let us know you're going to come. And it doesn't cost you anything, just your time, which I believe if all homeschool families have an hour, maybe 2 to spare, where there's nothing urgent going on in between, it's really good to come, make time, and learn to do this, because we need to get all 120 district offices visited in the state of California. It's been way too long. I think since 2015 was the last time all 120. Yeah, we need a revival, people. Come on.
Yes.
We need a revival.
Yes.
We need engagement
statewide.
Yes, we do. Agreed. We need to make our voices heard. That's what we're here for. We all can't just...
Yeah, because if it's not an emergency right now, it will be at some point, and we want to build relationships before it's an emergency, not after. It's so much easier to build relationships and get your toe in the door with your own legislator when things aren't as crazy, particularly at the district office, rather than waiting until there's a crisis and we're asking them not to beat our doors down. So if we can do it now, it's better.
Yeah, because that's how it started in 2018. I didn't know... I wasn't aware of FPM at the time, and I came across your blog when I Googled something, and that's how I came across the FPM site and learned about this. And again, it was an emergency. That was when things were going on, and we all came together then, but we all need to come together without an emergency.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so people can RSVP, and we'll put a link here, and with the YouTube video, we'll put... We'll make it, it's really easy to RSVP for this event, and they'll get information about where and when and all those details. What day is this event?
It's on April 28th at 11:30. Is it 11:30? Oh, let me double check.
And that's in Redlands, California. So,
it's in Redlands.
It's an easy drive for a lot of people. Might be a little bit longer for many, and for some people, it's probably the other end of the state. But hopefully, if you're nearby, it would be really good if you can get in there and participate in this training. And maybe we can do versions of this in other ends of the state as well. But if you're anywhere close to this, it would be really good if you could participate in this training.
Yes, absolutely. If you're somewhere in LA County, San Bernardino County, especially Riverside County, are all good candidates to come. Maybe Orange County, Northern Orange County, but yes, this is the training to go to get your feet wet and so that you can go visit your local legislators. Oh, one quick tip too to calm people's nerves a little. 99% of the time, when you sign up to do a district visit, you're not going to meet your actual legislator. They're up in Sacramento Monday through Thursday. And so you're most likely going to be meeting with a legislator's staff. So it's a little less intimidating.
Right. And that's what this visit is going to be. This training is going to be with a staff member. And he's a very friendly staff member, somebody that's done this a bunch of times with homeschool families. Particularly the Avila family,
Yes.
knows them well. And so he's eager to get more homeschool families on board with learning how to be advocates for homeschool freedom, because he views it as vital that homeschool families are engaged in advocacy for homeschool freedom. He thinks you should be involved in visiting your legislator at the district office, and that's why he wants to host this training event, because he cares so much about the freedom that you and I have. And that's a huge blessing to us that we have somebody that is eager to protect our freedom and help us to protect our own freedom. So
Yes.
get involved. This is a really, really good opportunity.
It is. It is a golden opportunity, so don't miss it. Nick wants people to come with me to do a district visit, and the only reason they're the only reason they do this is because of the relationship I've built over the years with their office and Senator Ochoa Bogue over the years. So that's why they're very friendly towards our family and towards this homeschool advocacy in the first place. And correction, it's at 11 a.m. on April 28th.
Okay, 11 a.m., April 28th, 2026, and it's in Redlands.
Yes.
And hopefully you can be there. It is about how long should people book their calendars for to set aside for this event?
I'd say at least 30 minutes, but it could go possibly to an hour, depending on how many hardball questions Nick decides to throw at me that day.
Okay. So if they can book 30 minutes, they should come.
Yes, because in general, the meetings really only go about 20 minutes to 30 minutes, but sometimes Nick comes up with some questions, even on when it's just us, that about the legislative packet that he'll want some detailed answers for. But I'd say usually 20 to 30 minutes is the normal.
Okay. Yeah. So this training event will walk you through how a district office visit can go and give you the confidence to go out and do it on your own. They'll walk through the packet, which you can get from us if you're ready to do your own district office visit later. We'll have Jennifer be there to answer questions, as well as Nick. And it's a unique opportunity for you to learn to get your toe dipped in that water of civic involvement,
Yes.
You and your family. And it would be a great opportunity.
Yes.
So.
And I have a handful of packets too. So whoever RSVPs, I'll take packets with me to give to people there too.
All right. Any last tips on or encouragement to get people there, Jennifer?
Nope, just come. You won't regret it, because Senator Ochoa Bogue's office is one of the best training grounds you could ever ask for. And they are just super eager to get people involved, because we all can't flee the state of California. Somebody people have to stay here to help protect what we have left. And
That's
so we're one of the few states, surprisingly, that doesn't regulate homeschooling very much, and we like to keep it that way.
That's right. That's right. Well, I'm praying for a great success for this event, Jennifer, and for a number of attendees to be not just coming, but also to be encouraged and trained and eager to get involved more in their own district areas and advocacy, and recognizing the need for each one of us to participate more.
Yes.
So thanks so much, Jennifer. I appreciate you coming on and talking about it. I appreciate you organizing this event too.
You're welcome.
So thank you so much.
Sure thing.
We are trying to also raise money. We're doing a special fundraiser for a new van for doing ministry throughout the state of California to go to events and bring FPM supplies as well as our family to events, because we tend to need a lot of space in a vehicle when we go to host those events, whether we're attending a conference and participating in helping that conference run, or if we're hosting our own FPM events like our Homeschool Freedom Day, which is coming up September 12th at the Reagan Library, which is going to be really fun, But we need a vehicle that's big enough for our family and all that equipment if we're going to be hosting those events in different places. So if you can contribute to that, we'd appreciate it a lot, because that makes a big difference to all of us. So that's it for today. Hopefully you can appreciate the information that we're sharing about the event down in Redlands, California, that we're hosting for training in advocacy. And we hope that you're able to join there at the district office for Senator Ochoa Bogue. So until next time, we appreciate your prayers, and thanks for your support. Thanks for joining us for this episode of The Front Line with FPM. For more information about the topics we discuss here, check out Family Protection Ministries at fpmca.org and subscribe to our channel. What?
It's sad.
It's sad? Why, our van is sad?
No. My mouth is sad.
Your mouth is sad? Why is your mouth sad, Will? Oh my gracious. Oh dear. What are you looking forward to in a new van? If we're able to get a new van, what would you like in a new van? You want to have maybe walls and a ceiling that don't leak? So is there anything else that you think would be good about a new van? What?
I want to have the red stay on the van.
You want to have the red stay on it? Oh, one that doesn't have paint peeling off? Is that what you're talking about? Oh, okay. So you want to have a van that the paint is staying on? Okay, that would be good. Yeah. It takes a lot of space, though, to haul our family, doesn't it? How many people do we have to take in our van? How many kids do we have? 10? 5? Is that the right number? I don't think so. 4? 4 kids? So if there were 4 kids, that would be about half of what we have.
Oh.
How many kids are there in our family? 8? That's a lot of kids. So we have to have lots of seats for that, huh? And then if we want to have space to put stuff, we have to have that extra space too, huh?